Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into a stack of information, dissecting it to uncover the most surprising and essential insights. Today, we're embarking on an incredible journey into the hidden world of fungi specifically, a group known as the Pezizales. You might know them better as cup fungi, but trust me, they are far more than just quaint little cups on the forest floor. They're vital players in ecosystems, surprising culinary delights, and even scientific marvels that have reshaped our understanding of life itself.
Right. Our mission for this deep dive is really to pull back the curtain on these often overlooked organisms. We'll illuminate their unique structures, unravel their fascinating life cycles, explore their critical ecological roles, and uncover their, unexpected real-world significance.
Uh,
By the end of our conversation, you'll not only be well informed about Pezizales, but you'll understand why these fungi are truly essential to our planet.
so what's the big question we're trying to answer today? For me, it's how do these unassuming cup fungi reveal some of life's most surprising adaptations and deepest secrets?
Okay, let's unpack this and explore the hidden lives of these amazing organisms. So when we talk about Pezizales, what exactly are we diving into? Give us the big picture of this fungal order.
Okay, well, the order Pezizales is truly vast. We're talking about around 15 families, some 160 genera, and over 1,100 species. They're primarily known as operculate discomycetes, which, yeah, might sound like a mouthful, but it points directly to their most distinctive feature.
Operculate. That sounds like it has something to do with an opening, like a lid or maybe a trapdoor. Can you paint a picture of their unique form for us? You've got it. Their characteristic fruit body is generally an apothecium. You can visualize that as a cup-shaped or maybe a disc-like structure. Think of a tiny, often brightly colored goblet or maybe a shallow saucer perched on the ground. These can vary enormously in size, from less than a millimeter, barely visible, to several centimeters across. They're frequently fleshy, sometimes have a small stalk, and often burst with vibrant yellows, oranges, or reds. That's thanks to special pigments.
Okay, interesting. And the operculum part.
Right, the operculum is indeed the key to their name. Most Pezizales have these cylindrical asci. These are basically sac-like cells that hold their precious spores. And here's the clever part. Each ascus has a distinct lid, the operculum, right at its tip. This tiny lid is absolutely crucial for how they, unleash their spores into the world.
What's fascinating here is how these structures relate to both their dazzling colors and their ingenious function. I hear there's a unique, almost explosive aspect to their spore discharge.
Absolutely. Interspersed among those spore-filled asci are slender, thread-like structures called paraphyses. And here's where the color comes in. Their tips often contain carotenoids, which are the pigments responsible for those striking yellow, orange, or red hues you see in the apothecia. Some of these carotenoids are found only in Pezizales, making them pretty unique.
Wow, only in this group.
Yep. Now, for the spore discharge itself, many species have remarkably active mechanisms. When ripe, large numbers of asci can release their ascospores simultaneously. It's a dramatic process called puffing.
Puffing, like literally.
Yeah. Imagine standing in a quiet forest, and suddenly, from a small patch of fungi, you might hear a faint hiss and see this sort of ghostly cloud rising. It's an auditory and visual spectacle. This phenomenon was actually first described in vivid detail by Buller way back in 1934.
A hissing sound, that's incredible.
It really is. The spores themselves can be colorless to reddish-brown, vary in shape from globose to ellipsoidal, and may have smooth or beautifully ornamented walls like tiny works of art under a microscope.
That puffing sound is such a surprising detail, a genuine whisper from the fungal world. So where do these fungi call home? And how do they make a living? They seem pretty adaptable.
Those Pezizales are terrestrial and saprotrophic. That means they play a vital role in nature's recycling program by decomposing organic matter. You'll find them busily breaking down fallen leaves, decaying wood, compost, or even animal dung.
Dung, okay.
Yeah, but their habitats are incredibly varied. Some thrive on burnt ground after a fire, which is interesting, and others, surprisingly, are aquatic, growing on submerged wood in streams.
Wow, aquatic fungi. And they have some very specific relationships too, don't they? Not all of them are just, breaking things down. Some form fascinating partnerships.
If we connect the bigger picture, yes, definitely. Some Pezizales form what's called ectomycorrhizal.
Okay, what's that exactly?
It's a truly vital symbiotic relationship where the fungus forms a protective and nutrient-gathering sheath around tree roots. Think of it like a glove. This fungal partnership helps the tree absorb essential nutrients, especially phosphorus and nitrogen, from the soil much more efficiently.
So it's a win-win.
Exactly. A compelling example, though maybe not a positive one for foresters, is Rhizina undulata. It actually causes root rot in conifer plantations. It often emerges in areas affected by recent fires, highlighting how even a single fungal species can have significant economic and ecological consequences, especially, with changing climate and increased fire frequency. It really shows how intertwined the health of our forests is with these microscopic interactions.
Right, that's a powerful example. Now, truffles are another unique case. They're world famous, but they grow hidden underground. How do they, without the benefit of wind, manage to disperse their spores and spread?
Yeah, this raises an important question about adaptation. For the subterranean species, like the true truffles from the genus tuber, dispersal relies entirely on, well, cunning animal assistance.
Animals, how does that work?
Their ripe fruit bodies emit an incredibly strong, distinctive odor. It acts as an irresistible beacon for rodents and other mammals. The ascospores are then consumed, survive the digestive process, which is key, and are dispersed far and wide through defecation. Passage through the gut likely even enhances their germination.
So eating them helps them grow.
It seems so. And unlike their operculate cousins, their asci are just simple sacs. They lack that operculum lid. They release spores passively only when the truffle is broken open or eaten.
Fascinating. Let's dive into some specific genera then that really highlight the mind-boggling diversity within the Pezizales. First up, Pyronema.
Pyronema. It's truly a remarkable fungus. Its apothecia appear with astonishing speed on burnt soil or heat-sterilized compost, so rapidly, in fact. They're part of a characteristic group known as phanecoid fungi, which literally means arising from ashes.
Rising from ashes, okay. Why burnt ground specifically?
Well, this preference for burnt or sterile ground seems to be their clever survival strategy. They are incredibly fast-growing, but they simply can't compete well with other slower-growing soil organisms. So they get in there first, claim the ground before anyone else really gets a foothold.
That rapid colonization is definitely a clever strategy. But what's even more surprising, I heard, is Pyronema's uncanny ability to pop up in some truly unexpected man-made environments, right?
You're absolutely right. Pyronema domesticum has been found contaminating things like steam-sterilized horticultural soils, plaster.
Plaster. Really?
Yeah, and even supposedly sterile surgical gauzes made from Chinese cotton.
Wow, sterile gauze. How?
It usually happens because of insufficient radiation treatment during manufacturing, and laboratory experiments have revealed a shocking reason why. Their ascospores have exceptionally high resistance to gamma irradiation, even more resistant than tough bacterial endospores, which are usually the benchmark for sterilization.
That's genuinely incredible. A super resilient fungus.
It's an amazing testament to their resilience and adaptability, turning something meant to be sterile into a thriving fungal habitat.
Truly surprising. Now let's talk about a much more visually striking fungus, Aleuria.
Right. Aleuria aurantia, widely known as the orange peel fungus. It's a real feast for the eyes. Forms these strikingly orange, cup-shaped apothecia in woodlands and grasslands.
Orange peel fungus. I think I've seen pictures of that. Very bright.
Exactly. That vibrant orange color isn't just for show. It comes from those carotenoid-enriched granules, densely packed in the tips of the paraphyses we mentioned earlier. Its ascospores are also quite unique, often ornamented with this intricate honeycomb-like pattern of raised ridges. You'd need a microscope to see it properly, but it's beautiful. And interestingly, isotopic analyses even suggest it might form mycorrhizal associations, like the truffles, further underscoring the diverse strategies within this group.
From the eye-catching oranges to, shall we say, a more understated but incredibly widespread fungus Pezizales.
Yes, Pezizales. It's a very large and ubiquitous genus. Its apothecia are typically cup-shaped, often quite large, pale brown, and fleshy. You can stumble upon them in an enormous range of habitats. Soil, nutrient-rich manure, rotting wood, shifting sand dunes, and even burnt ground, similar to Pyronema.
So they're kind of everywhere.
Pretty much. But what's truly interesting for mycologists, the people who study fungi, is that molecular analysis looking at their DNA has shown the genus Pezizales, as it was traditionally defined, is polyphyletic.
Polyphyletic, what does that mean?
Think of it like a family tree where distant cousins from completely different branches were mistakenly grouped together just because their cup-shaped fruiting bodies looked a bit similar on the surface. It means there's much more hidden genetic diversity and evolutionary history than meets the eye. So figuring out their true classification is actually a complex puzzle.
Fascinating. Okay, speaking of diverse habitats, let's get into the, well, less glamorous but incredibly interesting world of coprophilous fungi, like ascospores that thrive on animal dung.
Right, coprophilous, meaning dung-loving. Most species of Ascospores are indeed specialists on the dung of herbivorous animals. What's truly fascinating here, beyond the habitat, is their characteristic purple ascospores and the ingenious way their operculate asci work. They don't just release spores, they actually protrude and aim themselves.
Aim themselves. So they're literally launching their spores away from their immediate, shall we say, home on the dung.
Precisely. It's an incredible adaptation to ensure survival beyond that immediate food source.
How do they manage that? How do they aim?
Well, the tips of their asci are phototropic. They literally grow and bend towards light. This ensures that when they rupture, when they puff, the spores are thrown clear of the dung and into the open air, hopefully onto nearby vegetation.
Wow, that's targeted dispersal.
Extremely targeted. In some species, like Ascobolus immersus, the 8 ascospores even adhere together to form a single projectile. This projectile can be discharged up to an astonishing 30 centimeters horizontally, which is an impressive distance for such a tiny fungus.
30 centimeters, that's huge for its size.
It really is. And their spores also have this mucilaginous outer layer, a perispore, that helps them stick to new vegetation, ready to be eaten by another herbivore, restarting the whole cycle.
Incredible life cycle. But this raises an important question about their reproduction. Given their rather isolated habitat on, patches of dung, how do these fungi ensure genetic diversity? That's usually pretty crucial for long-term survival.
And this is where Ascobolus truly became a sort of powerhouse for understanding fundamental genetic processes. Ascobolus immersus, in particular, has been a key model organism for interpreting a gene recombination through crossing over during meiosis, the process of sexual reproduction in cells.
Okay, meiosis and crossing over, that sounds complex. How did Ascobolus help?
Imagine your genes as a stack of unique puzzle pieces. During reproduction, cells copy and then shuffle these pieces. Ascobolus allowed scientists to watch this shuffling process with remarkable clarity because they could use ascospore color as an easy visual marker.
Spore color.
Yes. Scientists could cross strains with different spore colors, say, the wild-type purple spores with pale mutants, and then simply look at the resulting patterns of colored and colorless spores in the octads.
Octads.
The groups of 8 spores produced after meiosis. By counting the colors, they could detect not only standard crossing over, where genes simply swap places between chromosome pairs,
All right, the usual shuffling.
but also more complex events like gene conversion. This is where one version of a gene, one allele, effectively converts the other allele on the partner chromosome to its own type. So instead of the typical 4 purple and 4 pale spores you'd expect from simple crossing over, you might see unexpected ratios like 7.1 or 6.2.
So the fungus provided a visible way to track these hidden genetic events.
Exactly. This tiny dung fungus, seemingly insignificant, became a foundational model organism. It unlocked secrets of genetics that underpin everything from medical research to agriculture. It truly illustrates how observing life at its most basic level can lead to profound scientific breakthroughs.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
From unlocking the secrets of genetics to culinary treasures that fetch astonishing prices, let's talk about the fungi that grace our plates, truffles, and morels.
Right, the true truffles from the genus tuber, famous for their subterranean fruit bodies. This underground, or hypogeous, fruiting is thought to be a clever adaptation for surviving drought, as the soil provides a stable, humid environment.
Makes sense. And the truffle itself, what's inside?
The truffle itself, which is technically an ascocarp, is typically globose, imagine a lumpy potato. It has an outer skin, the peridium, and this marbled inner part called the gleba. Inside the gleba, the light-colored veins are sterile tissue, while the dark veins are the fertile part, densely packed with the asci and their spores.
Okay, so if they're hidden underground, how do these delicacies signal their presence? You mentioned animals earlier, but there must be more to it than just a general fungal smell.
Oh, absolutely. Their potent, earthy smell and flavor are key. They emit a complex cocktail of volatile chemical substances. Dimethyl sulfide is a very common one, which attracts specific truffle flies and other insects. Flies too.
Yes, but here's where it gets really interesting and, frankly, quite astonishing. Tuber species also produce a specific steroid hormone called phyandrost-16-in-3-ol.
Okay. That sounds technical. What is it?
Get this. It's the main sex hormone produced by boars.
No way. The same hormone.
The very same.
Yeah.
This explains the incredible enthusiasm and efficiency with which female pigs, sows, locate and excavate truffles. They're literally driven by a primal urge linked to mating.
That is an absolutely astonishing level of coevolution. Wow. So what does this all mean for how truffles are found and even cultivated, given their incredible value?
Well, the most valuable truffles, like the black truffle of Perigord, tuber melanosporum, and the white truffle of Piedmont, tuber magnatum, can command prices up to uh, 2,000 euro per kilogram, maybe even more now.
Incredible prices.
Yeah, they're traditionally collected with specially trained pigs because of that hormone connection, or more commonly now, dogs.
Yep.
Dogs are easier to train not to eat the prize once they find it.
Right, less self-interest there. Exactly. Interestingly, the Perigord truffle can also sometimes be detected above ground by a distinct burnt ring-like zone or brulee around its host trees. Associated plants nearby start wilting, likely due to the truffle mycelium's metabolites or maybe even some subtle parasitic action. But despite significant cultivation efforts growing truffle-inoculated trees, global truffle yields have actually fallen dramatically over the last century. Climate change, habitat loss, it makes them even more precious and sought after.
A worrying trend for such a delicacy.
Definitely. And we should also briefly mention desert truffles from the genus Tophasia. While they aren't closely related to tubert, they too are mycorrhizal, forming symbiotic relationships with shrubs in arid regions. They play a vital role in Mediterranean ecosystems by greatly improving their host plant's ability to withstand drought stress. So, ecologically very important.
Okay. Now, before we move to the equally prized true morels, it's probably worth a quick note on another fungus that looks a bit similar, but is definitely not a culinary delight, right? The false morel.
Ah, yes, that's a crucial point. Geramitra esculenta, often called the false morel. It's a true cautionary tale in the fungal world. While it was once widely consumed in some areas, Geramitra esculenta was found to contain a potent toxin called gyrometrin.
Trimetrin, what does it do?
Well, in the body, it readily converts into highly toxic and carcinogenic hydrazine derivatives like methylhydrazine, which is literally a component of rocket fuel.
Rocket fuel. Good grief.
Yeah. It led to tragic, sometimes fatal mushroom poisonings, even with traditional preparation methods like boiling, which don't always remove all the toxin. It's a very powerful and somber reminder that not all interesting fungi are safe to eat, and accurate identification is absolutely critical. Never eat a wild mushroom unless you are 100% certain of its identity.
A vital warning. Okay, so with that caution in mind, let's talk about the true morels from the genus Morchella. Just as highly prized as truffles, but very different in appearance and habitat.
Right, morels are another spring delicacy, appearing as highly prized edible fungi. They exhibit two main ecological strategies. Sometimes they act as saprotrophic rooterals, basically pioneers, rapidly colonizing disturbed or burnt ground, a bit like Pyronema. Or they can form important mycorrhizal associations with tree roots, much like truffles. Their exact relationships are still being studied, actually.
And they look very different from cup fungi or truffles.
Very different. Their fruiting body, the ascoma, is truly distinctive. It has a hollow stipe, or stalk, and this fertile cap covered in a fascinating network of ridges and deep pits or depressions called alveoli. It looks a bit like a honeycomb or a sponge.
Ah, yes, that pitted cap is iconic.
Exactly. And that's where the asci and paraphyses are located, lining those pits. Like many Pezizales, their ascus tips are phototropic, they aim for the light, and they too release their spores by that characteristic puffing, invisible clouds, another miniature explosion of life.
We've covered an incredible range today, from the basic intricate structure of these cup fungi to their vital, often surprising roles in ecosystems, and their astonishing interactions with everything from trees and soil to humans and even boars.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is the sheer, unexpected diversity within just this one order, the Pezizales.
Ah,
From the explosive, hissing spore discharge you can actually hear, to the boar-attracting hormones of truffles revealing that deep coevolutionary dance, and the almost unbelievable radiation resistance of Pyronema. These organisms constantly remind us of the hidden complexity, the ingenuity, and the sheer adaptability of life. They really challenge our assumptions about what a simple fungus can be, you know?
absolutely. And it truly puts into perspective how much we're still learning about this ancient, yet incredibly dynamic group of organisms. Next time you see a strange cup-shaped fungus popping up in the forest, or maybe even encounter the elusive aroma of a truffle, consider the incredible hidden mechanisms at play. Think about the genetics, the ecology, the chemistry, and consider how much more there is to discover about these vital organisms shaping our world. What other hidden wonders might be thriving just beneath the surface, waiting to reveal their secrets?